Dude, this is I was given this to, not given this, but to kind of, it's a look at from a coworker of my wife's, this Husqvarna blower. Only thing I know is that he said it didn't run. I have since sprayed some carb spray into the carburetor directly through the air filter and pulled the cord, and it started for a few seconds. So we know it has spark and we know it has compression. So it's leading me to think it's a fuel delivery problem, especially since it's 2-cycle. So let's get into it. Let's take a look at the air filter. Go through all the simple stuff. It looks pretty good, actually. You see, yeah, this only goes in one way. Note that hole goes there. So let's put some fuel in this and prime it and see what goes. It has some fuel in there. I don't know the, you see there, let me just see if I can put that into a glass container. Okay, it won't prime. The, that tells me that either the fuel filter is clogged or there's a blockage in the carburetor. Most likely it's, let's take a look at the fuel filter. Looking at the fuel, this doesn't look, this looks almost like dirt. It smells like varnish, so let's try some new fuel. Okay, upon further investigation, you see that in there? That's some fuel line. It rotted off and broke. So the fuel filter is no longer connected. So it needs a new fuel line. I've got some of that, and hopefully it'll work after that. Where I gather it's to take this airbox off, you got 2 8mm. You're gonna need a deep socket to get it, and then we can get to the carburetor. Shoot, I wasn't filming. There is a line there that bad and all disintegrated, and the other lines just kind of just fell apart. So let's hopefully I have the right size line. I don't want to buy it. In order to get to this linkage, so you can get the carburetor off, so I can do new fuel lines, you have to take the recoil off, and that's just these 4 bolts, and then there's a couple more here to take off. They are, I don't know what size they are, but they're some sort of Torx or whatever that is, PEX or whatever. Anyway, so once you get those all off, you can just set them aside. Then we can get to the carburetor here, so I can look at things. To get this linkage, we have to take out the trigger, so we can then get enough slack on the linkage. And out comes the carburetor. So just remember how it goes in, like that. Got some fuel line. I don't know if it'll be long enough, but it's what I had that was that fit in. Basically what you do is you get one of these little hooks. Usually they come when you buy a fuel line set. If you don't have one, it's worth it. You just basically stick it in, you hook it on this hook, and then you kind of pull it through, kind of like how you do, you know, like wiring. So this is the fuel pickup line. hopefully I have enough, and I have some of this other line that's a little bit bigger. Get a lot of that. So I may not have enough line. So cleaned out the fuel filter with carb spray. So I say put the hook through it. This is what I'm talking about. Put the hook through one side, the back end, and then you put the fuel line over it. Then you can pull it through. Then there, you put the stopper on it, and then you pull the line through. Yeah. So that is your return line. Now I got to figure out what line goes where. I'll be back for that. Working on this blower. I think I got the fuel lines right now. Now, fuel comes in from here, goes to the primer. Then the primer goes and feeds into the carburetor. And here is the return. On this is a remote primer system. These are more complex. Actually, when I first did this, I got it wrong. So this is how I think everything gets put back together. I took the primer bulb thing out here so I could then properly cut the fuel lines to the right length. One of them I already shortened up in order to get the carburetor in. And then your throttle linkage goes like this so that you can do this. And then you just put it together. This is how everything looks when you get it all back together. Get the throttle linkage up here. You run your fuel lines here to the external primer, in this order. Otherwise, it won't do it right. This fuel line should be behind this throttle. I mean the linkage. Otherwise, it'll have some. It'll clash with the cover. I got this back together. I have put in fresh fuel and fresh 2-cycle. It runs for a few seconds and then it stops. So it tells me I probably need to adjust the carburetor, but here's what it's doing. I got it full choke. See, it'll start out. Do that. So that tells me it's just running on the prime and not getting enough fuel. The adjustment screws, you see, are there. They are splined. I got my spline adjustment tool that Hypa got me. Since this is not really idling, I'm gonna turn out the idle screw about a half a turn. It only would start for a couple of seconds and then die. Well, I took apart the carburetor, and this is the metering side, I believe. And look at what we got there on the screen. It's all full of gunk. So hopefully I can just clean that out and put this back together and be good to go. Okay, this is several days later. Maybe a week. I believe this carburetor is not so good. It's pumping too much fuel, flooding out the engine and not letting it run, is what I think's going on. So ordered basically a tune-up kit with a new carburetor from well, that's what people call it, the big jungle store. So, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this in. You get a new carburetor, new fuel lines and primer bulb, and some gaskets, and a air filter, and a spark plug. I'll just probably use the carburetor and fuel lines and keep this for something. Or I might give it to the my wife's coworker, who's actually this is his. So let's go ahead and put this on. You've seen me put the carburetor on and off before on this. I'm not gonna bore you. Just gonna go ahead and do it. The next scene you'll be able to see is this carburetor's on it. Yeah. This is the new carburetor. Primer goes into the inlet, which is by the adjustment screws. The return comes out the bottom. That goes back in. Actually, no. This is the return here. Comes out the bottom. This is the intake. Sucks it in. I got this back together. I spared you the details. You can go back to see where I was trying to fix the other carburetor, and it's kind of the same process. I just put a new carburetor in with new fuel lines, new fuel filter, a new primer bulb, and a new spark plug that came with the kit. So let's, and I put new fuel in. This is non-ethanol. And let's see. That's promising. Let's take it off of full choke. Well, looks like that works. I gotta fix this this bolt that came loose though from the. So go with the end product after I got everything back together. Initially, when I put the covers back on, I messed up this. So this off button was always in the off position, the stop position. So let's it's primed. Let's put it on half choke because I just ran it. So that's fixed. All it needed was a carburetor. Yeah. Link to the carburetor that was used will be in the video description. It came from Amazon.